can see that, which you probably can't. It doesn't matter. I'm sitting here drawing up a new design for the website. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. Some kind of idea that I've had for like ever. And I'm by no means an artist, but kind of sort of like to think that I can do some artsy shit. And sometimes I can get into a kick where I put some shit down on paper to make something cool. It's one of those things. I was just talking to Mark about the website, and he said, just draw it up. Yeah, that's real easy. You kind of always think that you kind of always hope that you can just give somebody an idea. And when you give them an idea and you say, hey, can you do this? And they say, yeah. And you're like, oh, I'll pay you. You kind of hope that they like listen to your idea and run with it, because you don't know how to put it down on paper. And I start to realize that it's not one of those things that you have to do everything yourself. But what you have to do is put in a shitload of time to explain to somebody what you want to do. So for instance, I've always wanted this like flashy, crazy 80s fucking goofy styled, kind of fun, cartoony shit for the website, and I've never done it. I've asked a whole bunch of people to do it, and I've gotten a couple websites, had a bunch of friends do websites over the past years. And it was hard because like I'm a pain in the ass because I'll come up with an idea and it's just hard to get this idea out, into the air. Like I say something and think everybody knows what the hell I'm talking about, but they don't. So after Mark saying draw it, it kind of clicked in my head because Mark is very artsy and does his own anime cartoons and a lot of computer work that way, and he's also a voice actor, which is pretty cool. And I started to think about it. I'm like, wow, every time you watch a movie and you see the way they do movies, and every once in a while you'll look through like a DVD set and it'll be like, oh yeah, this is how the making of the movie, and you start to see when they like draw it and shit. And it's crazy because if you think about a 2-hour movie, how many pictures you got to draw to get an idea out? And I really have no idea. I'm kind of just making this up, but obviously you've seen movies and whatnot, and sometimes you just see how they do it, and you're like, oh man, that's freaking cool. They drew pictures of exactly what was in their head, and once they had those pictures down on paper, somebody could physically see it, and then somebody could see an idea on paper, and be like, oh, word up, that'd be badass, we'll film it this way, and they find the right filmer and this, that, and the other thing. So basically, I've gone through different millions of ideas in my head, and everybody who knows me or has worked at the shop or been at the shop knows that I come up with a new idea like every day. It's pretty much the funniest thing ever, because I always have these ridiculous ideas that nobody will think will ever work, nor do I. And it's impossible to put them into fruition, but when it comes down to it, if you put a shitload of time into something to explain it or get it off the ground, it'll kind of just work. And it's weird because, as dumb as it sounds, I recently got a tattoo and told to shop my ID, and the guy was like, yeah, cool, whatever, we'll set up an appointment, all this shit, blah, blah, blah. And when I went in to get the tattoo done, the guy's like, oh man, you never forwarded me the pictures. You were supposed to email me this, that, and the other thing, and you did. I never got your email. And I was like, ah, fuck. Yeah, it kind of sucks. I was excited to get tattooed today, and the guy's like, nah, no worries. Let's just do it. Gave the guy the idea. We walked in. He started drawing, and it was cool because he drew it on with the different color markers, which actually is what I'm doing right now. Kind of drawing shit in pink and then going over it in black because it's just, I don't know, it looks cool and whatever. So the dude drew it, and I was like, man, that's fucking badass. Like, definitely want to get you to tattoo that, whatever. And it was already on my side, and blah, blah, blah. So, watching the dude do it, like, I gave him an idea, and then he rolled with an idea, drew it up, and it was rad, and then he managed to tattoo it, and it came out badass, which literally is going to end up being one of the new shop logos, which is a, you know, kind of cartoony shit, you know, rat roddy, I guess you could call it. I'm not even a rat rod fan, but then again, which I'm sure I'll talk about at some point, I like modern rat rods, where you basically take what you have and the skills you have, whatever, and the money you have, put shit together and build something, and something rad that you appreciate. So whatever. So I guess that being said, which might have made sense and might not have, I have no idea. I'm sitting here drawing what I think I would want a page of a website to look like. And the funny part is, I know when Mark sees this, he's going to look at me and say, "You're out of your fucking mind." Because most likely, what I'm drawing, he's be like, "There's absolutely no way to do that. You're basically creating an art project," and I'm going to look at him and I'm going to say, "Let's figure it out, because that's what I want." And this shop, you know, this month, which is March, shop's been here 7 years, which is pretty rad. And I've always had this idea, and over the years of doing random shit, you know, anything from exhaust systems to roll cages to building mini trucks to building cars and air suspension and custom metal work and doing rust repair and fixing frames and all that kind of crazy shit. Every time you do shit like that, you just, everything's an idea, and you just figure it out. I don't know, I kind of forget what I was saying there for a second because I'm trying to draw, but the idea behind all this is I have an idea in my head, and for 7 years I've done a bunch of shit, and I've always said in my head I want to do something on this elaborate scale that's kind of, in my opinion, in my head, something that represents me. And everything I've ever built myself, which hasn't been too many things. I mean, you know, a bunch of shit, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But now it's time to actually create something that's way over and above and, like, out of my comfort zone of reality to do. Because it's very hard when you're in the shop all the time working to actually get something going. I mean, you have so many ideas, and then you get busy, which we all know, and I'm sure everybody says this all the time. You know, you get super freaking busy, and it sucks. And yes, I'm sitting here smoking in the office, which I usually don't do, but whatever. One of them days, times, whatever, that I feel like sitting here and trying to get this going. But anyhow, what I'm trying to do is finally get an idea that I have in my head out into reality. And this basic idea is putting the expression of me into the shop. I mean, dude, it's a business, and a business has to make money and blah, blah, blah. And I've gone through many different aspects of this shop. You know, a lot of those aspects were, you know, when we first started, I mean, you know, cars, trucks, this, that, and the other thing, and then over time you get into doing like rust repair and shit, and you see what makes money and doesn't make money, and then you get frustrated and all that kind of shit, and you still want to do cool shit, but it's hard to do cool shit when you're frustrated. So then you get back to that point of doing shit just to make money because you got to pay the bills, which is true. I mean, it's fucking business. But I don't know, at the end of the day, it's, you kind of want to go to work and have fun, and not too much dick off or nothing like that, but like when you wake up in the morning and you get that feeling, you're like, oh fuck yeah dude, Saturday morning, I want to work on my car today. Why the hell wouldn't you want to do that like every single day? So that's kind of what I want to get the shop back to. I know last year was crazy. Like, I tried to do some different shit, some structural welding, and I did a lot more rust repair and all that, which are jobs that I never turned down. I would never turn them down, but it got to that point where, like, I knew the shop had to go into a direction, and that direction was the direction of just being a business and making money, which is cool. It's what you gotta do. Everybody, if anybody ever does see this video, which might not, who the fuck cares, but, like, people are going to tell me, dude, you got to make money, man. You got to make money in your business and all this shit and fucking whatever. And I totally agree with that. Like, you can't live without money, but I kind of have a runny nose because I have a heater running underneath my fucking face, but whatever. Um, yeah, you got to make money to survive and live and pay bills and all that shit. But like, it gets to that point where you just get fucking frustrated. Like, I've had jobs before, and when I had a job, it was like, it was cool, you know, to have a job and get a paycheck. But then it gets to that point where you're like frustrated. And you get up in the morning, you're like, I don't want to go to work, dude. Work fucking sucks. I go in here, I make my 15 bucks an hour, 20 bucks an hour, 10 bucks an hour, whatever it is, you know, whatever it is that you make, and you get super, super frustrated. You're like, this sucks. You're sitting there and you just, it's all about that paycheck because it's the only reason you're in there and you don't appreciate it. Well, it's kind of fucking weird because I was the kind of person that when I was in a shop and I did work, I was still proud of my work, and I was so proud of my work that I wanted to express myself in that, and like, I felt as though the shop was mine, not in not in a dickhead way or anything like that. I just appreciated where I worked, and you know, somebody had owned the place and whatever. So I always tried to step it up as best as I could and do the best work because my name was on that. Even though my name wasn't on the building, my name was, on what I did, but, you know, it was the owner's name or whatever it may be. So basically, in this shop, I try to do the same thing. I mean, obviously it's mine and that's cool, but every morning I wake up, I want to go in because I want to like my job. Because I want my job, and I've always said this, and I said this a long, long fucking time ago. I want my job to be part of my lifestyle. And you know what the funny part about it is, and hopefully somebody catches on to this or whatever, when you sit back and get a paycheck, and you don't blow that paycheck on car parts because you love cars, or hell, I used to skateboards, I've blown on skateboards, or four-wheelers, or any of that shit. When you blow your paycheck on that, it sucks when you're like, fuck, I gotta pay bills, dude. And you feel like a dick in your head because you just blew all your money you knew you had to pay on bills, but you blew it on something you liked. So my whole theory in this shop, which is kind of gonna sound fucked up, but my whole theory in this shop was if I do something that I like for a living and I put off paying a bill for a couple days to go buy something cool like car parts or something, if I have a shop that's related to my life, I'm going to enjoy going to work. And when I blow money on cool shit, it's shop advertisement. So it's obviously a business expense, which is rad as well. So that's kind of what I do. So basically, I have a shop because it's what I like to do. I got into welding and I like building shit, so that's what I do. And it got to that point of just being a business, and you know, over the past couple of years, it's been rad. But you know, it gets to that point where you wake up in the morning, you're like, "Fuck, dude, I'm just tired, man. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to do this, that, and the other thing. You know, I'm just fucking beat up. Like, shit sucks." And I got that way when I was like, "Oh man, I need to make more money and this, that, and the other." And I got out of the whole idea of why I did this shit in the first place. I mean, fuck, I can go get a fucking welding job somewhere. You know, even probably a Pico job if I tried, I'm sure. Or a union job or something like that, which I know are not easy to get, but I could probably get one because I'm pretty skilled. I have a clue what the fuck I'm doing. So, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, you get to that point of it being a job, and it got to that, you know, it was really cool in the beginning and all that shit, and then it became a job. You know, last year was just like fucking doing a lot of work that was job related, trying to work minimal hours, taking weekends off and all that kind of crap, which, like, who doesn't want to take weekends off? But then again, a lot of people who are into this kind of shit take weekends off because they want to work on their own shit on weekends. Well, I get to work on shit like my own every day, which is fucking rad. But I kind of lost that for a bit. So basically, I figured out after, I don't even know where I'm going with all this, but whatever. Basically, what I figured out after many, many years of trying different shit, I've tried to do this in the fun way and enjoy it and this, that, and the other thing, and do the best, and I've always done the best that I possibly could. But now it's the time where take it back to old school, kind of, where instead of looking towards the future and say, hey, the shop's doing pretty good, we make some money here and there, of course, pay their bills, and you know, kind of rock out, and you know, whatever. But it's every year, it's like a business owner, I'm like, man, what am I going to do next? Like, Do we start doing this? Do we start doing that? Do we start pushing this? What did we make enough money in last year? What's better? Blah, 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 all this shit. Gets into that idea of like real business shit, I guess. I don't fucking know. And every year I come up with these new elaborate ideas. Last year, this is kind of where it all culminated or cultivated, whatever the fuck it's called. Last year, I started doing structural work for a buddy of mine. I was like, oh man, fucking A, I can make all these beams and shit. And you're gonna pay me thousands and thousands of dollars for these fucking beams. And I'm gonna change this song real quick. Thousands and thousands of dollars for these beams, and I was like, oh man, this is fucking this is badass. I can make some money for just cutting holes and welding shit on beams and all that kind of stuff. And the worst part about it was, like, we did it and it made money, and it was like you get the project done and you know the money's coming in and that's fucking rad and whatever. When it was all said and done, I'm like, why am I turning my shop into a fucking job? This is fucking stupid. And there's one thing that I fucking told everybody for years, and there's a lot of people that heard me say this. I'd rather sit on my fucking couch and have no fucking work in this shop and not make a fucking dime and the fucking power gets turned off, rather than turn my shop into a fucking shop where I walk in the door every morning and I think it's a fucking job and it pisses me the fuck off. So I've done that. I turned the shop into a fucking job because I was like, man, I need to make more money. I need to fucking blah, blah, blah. I need to get this bankroll and all that shit. And I'm like, dude, don't get me wrong. Like, I need to do that. Like, everybody needs fucking money and all that kind of shit. But, like, when you don't enjoy it, dude, go get a fucking job. Close your own shop. My theory. And I've kind of said that to myself like a million fucking times. Like, if you don't fucking like coming to work in the morning, close the motherfucker. Like, literally close the shop. Go get a fucking Pico job. Go get a fucking welding job, and you can do this shit on the side and fuck around. Which is true. But instead of doing that, I say, you know what? Why don't I take these fucking ideas that I have in my head and figure out a way to fucking put them in fruition? And that's what I'm doing now. Make the website what you want. I've had fucking 3 or 4 websites. I don't even fucking know. They've always all been cool. I've had a couple buddies make them and shit, and it was rad. They were cool websites. I actually literally was just watching a couple videos from back in the day that we had. Fucking huge dragon cars. I was welding in the shop and all that kind of shit. And there was a lot of cool shit. But it was always what I wanted. But it was never as elaborate, or it was never a full-blown expression of really what I want. So that's what I'm doing now. So this video that I'm fucking making right now, not because I'm bored, because it's 6:15 and everything's done in the shop, and I've got 2 projects for tomorrow, and this shit just has to fucking get done finally. So I've been talking about it for so fucking long, and I just never got it the fuck done. So I'm sitting here drawing up the new website, and it's my new idea for the year. And like I said, and I say this all the time, I say this a lot, I probably said it 3 or 4 times already, people who know me know that I come up with these ideas all the time. And I come up with a new idea, and then I try to roll with it, then I get busy, and it goes on the back burner, then I forget about it, and all this kind of crap. So what I'm doing right now is I'm doing my best to put my fucking head down and draw this fucking website, because I want a new website that's really fucking cool. And to explain it, which I just hope that somehow this video will come out at some point and this fucking website will actually get done, because I think it'd be pretty rad, and I think somebody will enjoy it. At least I'll get to enjoy it, you know. I want to make people realize what I do at the shop. And there's a lot of people out there that would roll their eyes and be like, what do you mean, what do you do at the shop? You do bags, you do fucking cars, you do exhaust, you do fucking blah blah blah. You're a welder, you weld shit. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? I like that song, so we're gonna listen to this song again. Oh wait, no, we'll listen to the next one. So when I have people ask me what I do, it's easy to say go to a website. When they go on a website, they see a bunch of cars, and the first thing that comes out of their mouth is like, "Oh, word up, dude, man, you build custom cars," and I'm like, "Yeah, I do, I guess." Used to build a lot of mini trucks and all that kind of shit. Did some lowriders in my day at the old shop that we had, that I was a part of, and it's weird because one day I could come in and do an exhaust for some random dude, and it might be like an $800 exhaust, take me a couple hours to do, majority of the day, and be fucking rad as shit and loud and cool, whatever. But then, like, I might get it done and I might put a flex pipe on some mechanic shop next door's car. I do like a flex pipe for $100 or $150, like something cheap, and something for a normal person who's not really into custom shit. And you can stop and say, "Yeah, dude, you do exhaust." Well, you're right, I do exhaust. But then again, right after that project, what can happen is I can get a Jeep that comes in here with a rusted frame, and I'll sit there and cut out the fucking frame and redo a frame on the Jeep. And oh man, no shit, yeah, because you do rust repair. Yeah, you're right, I do rust repair. That's the fucking truth. I do a lot of rust repair. There's actually a fucking old lady came in today, which was really cool, and I found out through the Chevy dealer down the street that this lady loves her car, and she's got like a fucking, it's like a 1992 Cutlass Supreme or some shit, like one of the little four-door cars from like the early 90s. This lady loves her car. Thing's got 100,000 on it, whatever, no big deal. It's got a rusty tower. Lady walks in, it's got a rusty shock tower. And, I knew about it ahead of time. Guy called me and gave me a heads up about this shit. And, this lady, like, walks in and sees me. She's like, 75, 80-year-old lady, whatever it may be. Walks in, she looks at me like I'm crazy. And she's like, "Oh, you're the welder?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's me." "You're Brad?" "Yeah, I'm Steve." "Oh, how you doing?" And whatever, which is cool. Shit's rad. When people call me Brad, it's like kind of fucking funny, but whatever. So she comes in, and it's like, I didn't necessarily get the question from her, "What do you do here?" She just knows welding. She knows you do welding, and she knows that she has something that's metal that's rusted. Totally makes sense, dude. I get it. That's fucking rad. She knows welding. And a 75-year-old lady knows welding is going to know from, let's just maybe her husband or grandfather or something. Yeah, I know somebody who welded on this skyscraper and was like a union welder and did pipe work and all that. I'm like, yeah, that's fucking badass, dude. I can do that shit. I've done some structural steel, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I've done that stuff. And they're like, "Oh man, that's really awesome," and they can relate. But then if the lady says, "Well, what else do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I build custom cars," and she's gonna look at me, and she's gonna, most likely, this lady was actually really cool. She's like, watch car videos and shit just to learn, because she was sick of getting fucked over by mechanics. Whatever, no offense to any mechanics out there, just, you know what I'm talking about. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. But there are some fucking sketchy business owners out there that fuck people over and ruin it for everybody else. And in my business too, when it comes down to, building quote-unquote custom cars, there's a lot of backyard dudes that fucking half-ass shit that give you a bad name because they're cheaper than you or whatever, and then they badmouth you and make you look like a fucking asshole over dumb shit. And then, you look like a dick, but whatever. It's just besides the point. That's another fucking story, and it's fucking, anybody who knows me knows that story too, but who cares? So, when somebody like this lady walks in the door and she sees, like, the M3 sitting there and it's fucking slammed and there's a four-wheeler behind it and there's this little truck behind it, she can kind of look at it and be like, "Oh my god, what do you do, cars?" And you're like, "Yeah, dude, I'm a fucking welder. Like, I can make you anything you want out of metal." It just so happens that I love cars and trucks, and I love building custom shit, and I always have. I just never really wanted to change alternators and change oil and all that kind of shit. So, explaining to somebody like that what the fuck I do in here is weird, because she's coming in a welding shop. Most likely she thought she was going to come in and see a bunch of dumpsters that were getting repaired, or like a dump truck or something, or a staircase. Because a lot of people hear welding, they're like, "Oh, you weld railings?" It's like, I've done that too. So the point of what I'm trying to get across now is the idea of what I do in here, and I know that there's a lot of custom guys out there that do certain shit that are known for their own custom stuff, which is awesome. I mean, there's a lot of custom shops out there, and when people say their names, you automatically think mini truck, or you think hot rod, or you think paint shop, or you think any of that shit. Well, it's kind of fucking weird because, like, I like to think that in the welding industry, I guess, or welding wise, I'm kind of a jack of all trades. Maybe. If that sounds right, I'll probably get made fun of for that, but who cares? Um, you can fix a stainless steel table, and next to that you can make an aluminum fuel cell, and next to that you can be welding a steel control arm, and next to that you could be fixing somebody's rusty um, fire pit. It's metal. It's all metal. So the idea of what I'm doing now is I'm trying to explain what the hell I do. And reason being is because I just want people to know what the fuck I do. And it makes it a lot easier for me to actually explain it, which is kind of cool. Obviously, making a new website, which I'm doing, is going to help explain that. It's also going to help generate business, hopefully, if it works. But that's, it's that time of year where you say, all right, how'd last year go? Is it time to come up with a new product or a new idea or whatever? And what's funny is I haven't drawn anything in probably, fuck, I don't know, what am I, I'm 38 years old. So probably since I was like 21 or 22, I really haven't drawn much. I used to sit and draw. I mean, hell, I worked at a skateboard shop for fucking 9 years, 7, 8 years or some shit. Back in the day before I started welding. But I used to sit there and draw all the time just because it gave me something to do. And, like, to be honest with you, I used to draw cars and shit because it was stuff that, like, I really couldn't even afford to build back in the day. And I used to draw cool shit. So, and in my head, I was like, oh, maybe someday I'll be able to fucking build this. I'll have the money to build it, or the talent or knowledge or whatever it may be, rather than just sitting here being able to draw it. Anybody can pull a pen out and draw something, but to actually physically make it in person is actually hard. You gotta have a fucking skill level to do that. So it's kind of what I'm doing right now. Is I pulled a pen back out and I've been drawing. I drew a home page of what I wanted it to look like the other day, which was pretty rad, and it actually kind of came out cool. Is it going to be able to be made? The fuck knows. Mark's probably, like I said, Mark's probably going to look at me and be like, dude, that's impossible. But we'll figure it out, whatever. But it's cool. I actually almost, in this dumb, gay, weird way, feel like, oh man, I got back to my roots back when I was, 16, 17. Oh, fuck, dude, when I was in 9th grade, I was drawing mini trucks because I used to get Mini Trucker magazine when I was in 9th grade. It was cool. I was like always into that shit. I just figured I'd never build it. Never even built myself a mini truck until now, because I actually am building myself a mini truck, which is kind of fucking funny. But funny part about it is I break a pen back out and sit here and I'm drawing this website, and for some odd reason I'm kind of enjoying drawing this shit. Like, I'm not getting frustrated about it. I'd love to go down to the shop and work on my truck, but it's kind of important right now to get this new website going and try to get this new idea out and about to explain what we do in here, so people can, so it's not a 3-hour conversation that I usually have with people to explain shit. It's a quicker conversation and a lot simpler, and people can go on the site and be like, holy shit, dude, I watched your video, it's fucking rad. So I'm sitting here literally drawing shit that would basically be the new website if it ends up, working out to where it actually gets done. And I'm kind of hoping that this is one of those ideas that actually does get done. It ain't gonna be perfect, it ain't gonna be great. I'm not looking at fucking generating billions of dollars of business. I'm not fucking trying to change the world or change the face of reality or anything like that. It's just trying to fucking get back to that point of having fun at work. And I guess you get back to basics. you get back to like, when did I like this shit? When did I have fun building stuff? You know what I mean? Like, when was it enjoyable? And dude, to be honest with you, it was really fucking enjoyable and frustrating and just sucked when you used to do it in the driveway at the house. And when it was done, you'd be like, holy fuck, I get to go drive it around. And the funny part is, like, you'd do a coilover job and, oh yeah, you gotta go get alignment, but we never had the extra $75 to go get the alignment, so you would rock around and fuck your tires up, which is one of those things what people still to this day do now. Slam your car and you don't even you don't even go and get an alignment afterwards. It's fucking hilarious. But, yeah, this whole idea is getting into back to basics, like when you really, really enjoyed it. And every time you come up with a new idea, it's like, see what happens. So, right now we're doing this website thing, and this is the beginning of it. So the website's basically going to have two different ideas. There's a welding aspect of the shop. So if somebody comes in and they know what welding is, or know, obviously, metal, and they know it has to be welded, they can go to the site or come into the shop and have a fucking clue that they can come in and get something fixed. Whether it be a frame on their car, frame on their truck, equipment, landscaping equipment, or something of the nature, a dump truck, your lawn furniture, your what the hell is it called? Your fire pit, whatever. You'll be able to click on the site. That'll be one thing. You'll be able to click on the other site, which is kind of cool. And let's say there's a rat roddy design, something neat and bright and colorful and cool. For some odd reason, I really want a video on the front of it that's like hilarious. If I was just being a dick and just doing donuts on the four-wheeler in the shop, because I was just in that mood that night. So I decided to do donuts in the fucking shop. So that'll be on the cover of the other one. So when somebody clicks on that, let's just say somebody younger or somebody into cars, whether it be modern cars, old cars, rat rods, customs, mini trucks, stance cars, like whatever the fuck it may be, they can click on it and be like, holy shit, dude, you do cool shit like that. It's like, yeah, I do. I make money both ways, which is cool. And the site's going to be that way. When you click on the other aspect of it, it's going to be rad. And you're also going to be able to go onto the site and, you know, buy shirts and hats. Like, okay, so make welding great again. Why'd I make the hat? Well, I don't know. Donald Trump was cool. Liked him. Fucking voted for him for president, whatever. But in the meantime, to weld for fun shit was like pretty cool. I was into that. I kept saying that. And this one's no, I'm an idiot. This one was to make welding great again, not weld for fun, but whatever. You get the idea. So make welding great again. So made those hats. It was kind of cool. So like I'll put them up on the site. I want to sell them. Sell hats that say weld for fun. We're also going to be selling welding hoods and gloves and jackets, which are just basic gloves and jackets that we use in the shop that we buy for $10, $20. We'll screen print them, put the logo on there, and sell them for cheap. And if anybody wants a cool welding jacket or hood or a pair of gloves, they'll be able to get that, which would be pretty rad. You'll be able to buy the new logo that I got, this tattoo design, which kind of brought this out of me, I guess. Be able to buy stickers and t-shirts and all that kind of shit. But on top of that, you'll be able to fucking buy a welding t-shirt, you know, Brad Fab welding shop or something, or I'll hand them the fuck out, like whatever. Jamming out to get the radio on. So, yeah, I don't know, man. This is the fucking ideas right now. I don't think anybody's gonna watch a 34-minute video, because that's what this is. What, 34 minutes and 30 seconds that I've been drawing and bullshitting, but it's whatever. I guess it's better to talk to a camera than it is to yourself. But then again, when you talk to a camera, at least you'll be able to look back on it and be like, man, what was I thinking or feeling that day? You know? I mean, it's 6:30 now. I'm gonna go to the gym at like 6:30, and I don't know, just trying to get these fucking ideas going for this website. You know what I mean? Like where it's gonna go, and like what's it gonna look like, and yeah, I don't know. It's kind of cool and weird, and I gotta go through pictures on the computer and all that shit, but you know, whatever. I guess this is me kind of throwing it out there that it's easy to talk to a customer when they come in the door and they ask you a question. But every once in a while, I get on a kick where I just want to fucking bullshit about it. And nobody's around, so while I'm sitting here drawing, I'll bullshit about it. Like, I don't know. It is what it is. Let's see what happens. So, I'm gonna sit here and draw for a bit, listen to some of this fucking radio, and I don't know. I guess I'll videotape another time. Who the fuck knows?